The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
You want some bad news, Michael?
No.
What are you asking me?
You're the guru of the gray matter. I figured if anybody had it, you'd have the answer.
I can't give you any direction.
I think I'm going to have to change this channel. I'm sorry.
You're completely wrong.
I refuse to be wrong on 2 calls in a row.
Tell me I'm spot on or tell me I'm crazy as I'll get out.
I have no idea.
I have a 6-month-old, so we'll be raising him according to Dr. Ray.
Talk about being a winner.
So, you want my question?
You ain't making any sense.
You're absolutely right. I just needed confirmation.
So what are you going to do about it, Dawn?
I'm calling you.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
Uh-huh. Yes. I see. Tell me more. How did that make you feel? Don't mind me. I'm just doing some show prep. People say, what do you do for show prep? I just loosen up, do a little lip stretches here. You can't just start right into the show saying something like, uh-huh, because I've seen therapists pull muscles way up in the upper lip, and from that point forward, they can't say much. They can just nod, which most of the time we can get away with. You just nod, kind of like understanding, and if you have a little goatee, you stroke it. That's a big thing. I don't have a goatee. It would be gray. So I'm not going to have it. Just so I have to just kind of look and stare, and every once in a while I can say, "I see where you're coming from." That's extra. I charges extra for it. I started charging for ICs. Tell me more. Started about $1 a piece on those, but I lost a lot of clients. So what I did was I just stared. Good to have you here on The Doctor Is In. The number, 877-57-EQUAL. It's always a lot more fun when we get a lot of calls. A lot of folks who help out other folks. Yesterday we had someone call in with a very, very difficult marriage situation, and we had just a boatload of calls afterward, giving perspective, correcting me, which, by the way, if you do correct me, you go straight to the front of the line. If you have an insight on life, every once in a while somebody will call in with an insight, something they learned after 53 years of living. Took them long enough, but if you pay attention, you can get better at living life. There's no question about that. So the number to get a hold of Eric Dumont, who is the first line of defense on the program, is 877-57-EQUAL. Question about living. That's pretty broad. I can't make it much broader than that. From conception to eternity. Get toward conception, we kind of get a little fuzzy, and eternity, there's a lot of speculation involved in that. But in the middle, this tiny, infinitesimally small sliver. We think it's a lot because that's all we know, but it is an infinitesimally small sliver of existence on Earth. Here, this life is where we spend most of our time talking on this program. So, 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call if you would like to get onto the program. First-time parents are anxious to show off their little one's developmental precocity. One of the places where you see this is letting a 3-year-old answer the phone. Pretty good, huh? No. Hello. Hello. Can I speak to your mommy, please? Mommy? Yeah, can I speak to your mommy? Okay, can you go get your mommy? can you go get your mommy now? Mommy? Mommy? Ask who it is. Just ask who it is. Is this who? Is this? This is Uncle Ray. Can you go get your mommy right now? Uncle Ray wants to talk to mommy. Okay, go ahead. Go now. Okay. Look, I'll give you $100. I'll give you $100 if you go get your mom. And then you hear mom in the background. Say bye. Say bye. Huh? Say bye. Bye. Okay, bye. That's good. Bye. Tell your mommy I'll give her $500 if she comes and talks on the phone. But on the phone, mommy. At that point, I hang up. I just simply say I'll call back and hopefully I don't get you. Because what we want to do is by the time I got to our third or fourth kid, we didn't do that to anybody. First kid we did. We tortured them. Phone torturing. But after that, we realized as we got more and more hang-ups, and I can't speculate on how much money we might have lost from some radio show calling us and telling us that we won $1,000 because we were the 15th caller. But they couldn't get through to us because we had a 3-year-old answering machine trying to show off our kid. And in the end, really didn't show off much. We just drove people crazy. But sometimes people let the 3-year-old create the voicemail. No, nobody's here. No, to call to, talk to me. Say call back. Say call back. Call back. Say thank you. Say thank you. No, nobody to say thank you to call back. Just say we'll call you back. Just say we'll call you back. You can call back when we are here. Call. Bye. Yeah, I know. The only thing worse than little kids on answering machines is little kids telling jokes. We'll talk about that sometime. 877-573-7825.
We are the pro-life generation, passionate about building the culture of life in our healthcare and in our nation. But not all healthcare options are equally pro-life, and some provide morally objectionable procedures. CMF Curo is different. CMF Curo is a pro-life Catholic healthcare ministry providing a pathway for its members to build the culture of life in their healthcare choices, not destroy it. Learn more about CMF Curo at mycatholichealthcare.com. That's mycatholichealthcare.com.
When your children consider going to college, where are you going to find a place that will prepare them for the future and build on the foundation that you've laid? The answer? Ave Maria University. With an authentically Catholic curriculum including 35 majors, AMU prepares students to take on the world.
My daughter told me she was published in a scientific journal as an undergrad. I'm so proud of her. The world needs Catholic physicists, and my daughter's going to be one of them.
Learn more at avemaria.edu. That's avemaria.edu.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria Mutual Funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Are you paying high prices with a traditional health insurance company that pays for things that violate your conscience? There's an alternative available. Solidarity HealthShare is a community of faithful individuals and families that never share into immoral medical services, all while saving you money with prices starting as low as $85 per month for singles and $512 for families. Never fund another abortion with your healthcare dollars. Call 844-313-4999 to learn more.
If Tom Price is listening, a man who is a compendium of movie and music trivia, he would know what I'm alluding to when I go to line 1 and say, Stella! Stella! Hi, Stella.
Hello.
How old are you, if I can ask?
I'm 12.
12? You sound like you're 18. So you would have no idea whatsoever when I said, Stella, would you?
Not necessarily.
Well, that was a movie with, I'm blanking on who played the Godfather. He was in I think it was On the Waterfront, where he was yelling, Marlon Brando, thank you, Andrew. He was yelling, Stella, well, you are 12. All right. Is this your idea to call, or did your mom say, why don't you call?
This was my idea.
Why do you sound so grown up? Are you homeschooled?
No.
I'll tell you. You're off school today because it's cold, right?
Yeah.
All right, honey. So, you tell me your question.
Okay, so I've asked this to a few people before, and I wanted to get your opinion.
Wait a minute, Stella. Hold on a second. You went to other people before me?
Yes, because normally I'm in school when your show plays.
All right, I'll let you slide on that one, but don't let it happen again. All right. So, again, I'm sorry. Honey, I interrupted you. Your question?
When you're going through your school career and you start to have troubles with friends, how do you stay close to your faith and seek God for the answer?
Are you asking this as a 12-year-old, or are you anticipating that this is going to happen more when you get to high school and maybe college?
Asking this as a 12-year-old.
So you must have friends who are throwing at you moral objections about the things you believe. Is that true?
No. So I just want to know how you kind of keep with God. They're just not really acting like friends anymore. Mm-hmm. And I want to know how to stay with God for him to help me.
Well, honey, you stay with God independent of what they do or say. You know that you're going to believe in something that is not only true, but has a lot of evidence behind it. So, sadly, I think as you get older, a lot of your friends or peers are going to have objections about certain morals that you very much believe in. And they're going to say these things because that's what the culture says they should say. I think what'll help you is this. Much of what they're going to say makes no sense. And you'll realize that. There's a phrase I use, I call it, immorality is illogical. Let's say, for example, one of your friends says, well, I think that if you get pregnant, you should be able to say whether you want the baby or not. you could ask them a few questions. Well, is it a baby? You called it a baby. Is it a baby? Well, yeah. So what are you saying? It's okay to end that baby's life? So that's how you do it, honey. You can explain your faith by making them explain theirs or whatever it is they believe. So that's the first thing. You'll find that as you attempt to understand why they think so differently than you do, you'll find that the way you think and how you are close to God and how you believe in the way He says to do things makes so much more sense. And as you see that, you'll become more and more convinced that God's way is the far better way to live. That's the way to do it. Never be intimidated by somebody who throws a question at you, or somebody who says, "Why do you believe that?" Or somebody who says, "I can't believe that you think that." Never be intimidated by that, because what you'll find as you get older, they haven't really thought about why they believe what they believe. So often, kids your age and above more or less just spout stuff. Because why? Well, that's because other people think that way. That's why they say it. How's that for you?
That is very good advice.
Well, I just want to say, I hope it's better advice than all those other people that you went through before me. I just want to say, Stella, if you ever call again, that better not happen again. Unless it's your mom or dad. If it's your mom or dad, okay, cool. Okay, maybe a priest. Okay, that's cool. Okay, well, maybe a therapist. Okay, that's cool. Okay, well, maybe a good friend. Okay, that's cool. Okay, maybe another call-in host. Okay, that's cool. Maybe your dog. But other than that, you better think, I better talk to Ray first. And by the way, just given the few minutes that I've talked at you, you sound incredibly mature. And my guess is going to be, with that maturity, you'll be very, very good at, in a lot of ways. You know what's going to happen, I think, honey? I think that the people who are going to question the way you think and your ability to explain it and your ability to get them to explain theirs is going to turn a lot more people toward the way you think than you turning toward the way they think. I think that's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Not a girl. You call me anytime before all those other 27 people you called first. All righty?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stella. And she just does not know Stella. Some of you know. Tom Price probably isn't listening, or else he would have texted me and said, yeah, on the waterfront, Marlon Brando. I think that was on the waterfront. Ann is calling from the Sherwood Forest. Well, no. Sherwood, Oregon. Hi, Ann.
Hello, Dr. Ray. How are you?
Do you know Stella? If I said Stella, would you know that?
No, I don't know Stella.
See that? You're just trying to say like you're younger than me. That's all.
No, I think I'm older than you, maybe, or close.
No, there's not. The people that are older than me pretty much are dead.
Well, we were born in the same decade, I can assure you that.
I just found out it's from A Streetcar Named Desire. It's not from On the Waterfront. So even I didn't know that. All righty. So you got two sons, and...
No, that's wrong. No, I have two grandsons.
Oh, that's right. Your daughter has two sons.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And let's just say she's very quick to call, very quick to ask anytime they need help with the boys.
And you like doing that? That's okay with you?
You know, in the beginning, I loved it when there was just the one, you know, and he had his struggles up and down. Two, it's getting a little bit much. But I don't mind ever having them. The question I have is that there's really no reciprocation. It's not like, hey, Mom, would you like to come over for dinner tonight, or on a weekend even? Hey, Mom, you want to go out shopping? You want to go here or there? I always get this, oh, gosh, you know, we're so busy. We're just so busy and stressed out.
Don't listen to that song by Harry Chapin, right? Cats in the Cradle.
Oh.
When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Mom. You know we'll have a good time then. What would you, and what do you think the ratio would be from your daughter asking you, hey, Ma, can you babysit, can you watch the kids, to, Mom, let's do something together? What do you think that ratio is?
Oh, jeez. About 95% to maybe 5.
That's pretty high. That's like 19 to 1. That's pretty high. Has it always been that way ever since the kids were born?
You know, when she was younger, she wasn't that way in college and everything. It just seems since she has this big job and, you know, she's, you know, making a lot of money and, you know, they both work. It's more that.
All right. So they got themselves on a real treadmill, and their view is we don't really have much time to do anything other than work and be with our family, and therefore the way Mom can help is that she can take care of things so we can pursue these other things we have to do.
It's spot on. Yeah.
Well, you know, and if you do say something, how would you say it?
I have said, you know, I'd really like to spend some time just with you. And then I get something like, well, Mom, you just know how stressed out, and we just don't have the time. You know, that's what I get. And if I try to talk about my feelings, that stresses them out. You know, that whole generation that's out there where, you know, if something stresses them out, they don't do it.
Well, my dear, you already said, as there was just a question here on the end of the computer typing, it said how to talk to my daughter about this. Well, it already sounds like you did talk to her about it, right? And it wasn't really accepted openly. Like, gee, Mom, you're right. We'll try to get something going. That didn't happen, did it?
No. Once in a blue moon, maybe.
Holidays? Holidays?
I see them for probably about 3 hours.
So then she goes to their in-laws and everywhere else.
You know, go to the other side of the family, and then, or like Christmas, you know, something like that. Christmas Eve brunch. And then that's it, because Sunday, I'm sorry, you know, I go to Mass. You know, I'm not going to give up my, you know, my, what I'm doing. So they kind of work around that. Not that they would come over in the morning, Christmas morning, because, you know, that's their day, Christmas Day anyway, with their kids. That's their family time.
Okay, I'm going to bump up against the break here, but I'm going to carry you over, Ann, because I didn't offer you any thoughts. But let me throw a question at you here that might be a little tough. Have you had to struggle with the thought that you think your daughter's kind of selfish?
Oh, heck yes.
Okay. So you didn't even struggle with it. It's like, no, I don't struggle with it. I concluded.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. You stay right there. Once we've got that out of the way, we'll see what we can do to give you some peace. And maybe you could charge them. How much does babysitters get these days? Like $10 a kid? I don't know. Stay over there. Don't leave me. Don't leave me, Ann. This is Dr. Ray, 877-57-EQUAL, bottom of the show, and we get usually more calls coming in at the bottom of the show. Plenty of time. Give me a buzz.
60 on 10 with Monsignor Charles Pope.
The fifth commandment, you shall not kill. At the heart of this commandment is an absolute insistence on the sacredness of human life. We read in Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 5, "Before I ever formed you in the womb, I knew you, says the Lord." So every human life is sacred because it's caught up in the mind and the heart and the will and the love of God. And no matter how we're conceived or any circumstances, God has always known and loved every human person. And for this reason, we are to hold sacred every human life. We are therefore to never murder, never kill, never seek vengeance. Of course, we have issues of abortion and euthanasia today, and we have so many ways where we in some way disrespect the lives of other human persons, and even our own life. We have to learn to respect it as a great gift from God. The fifth commandment, you shall not kill.
For more about the 10 Commandments, visit EWTNRC.com.
What is catechesis and why do we care? The job of catechesis is to reveal all the joy as well as the demands of the way of Christ, says the Catholic Catechism. The way of Christ is summed up in the catechesis of the Beatitudes. Jesus gave us the 8 Beatitudes in his Sermon on the Mount. The Catholic Catechism tells us this teaching is the only path that leads to the eternal beatitude, happiness, for which the human heart longs. The catechesis of sin and forgiveness challenges us. Unless man acknowledges that he is a sinner, states the Catechism, he cannot know the truth about himself, which is a condition for acting justly, and without the offer of forgiveness, man could not bear the truth. This is Peggy Stanton, and this has been the Order of Malta's Minute with the Catechism.
Talk about music from a 1960s sitcom. It's Dr. Ray Guarendi. I'm talking to a lovely lady, Ann, from Sherwood, Oregon. Situation is her daughter and her son-in-law both are working. Sound like they're professionals, young professionals, and they're just definitely spending a lot of time on the job. And as a result, they're juggling family somewhat and the job. And Mom, Ann, is a ready sitter. And she gets calls on a ratio of about 19-1 for babysitting, as opposed to, let's get together, Mom, and go out and have breakfast. Have some fun as a family. And I proposed to Ann, do you think your daughter's kind of selfish? And she didn't hesitate for a second. She said, absolutely. So, Ann, here's the question. You've already talked to her about it, and she just kind of gently slapped it away, correct?
Yes, or she'll say something like, push it off like, well, if I get some time, or,
we'll get together then, Mom. We'll have a good time then.
Yeah, huh? I know that song. I know that song so well.
Well, here's the thing. You're probably going to have to accept the terms if you want to just enjoy your grandsons.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know. What are you going to do? You've tried it. You've spoken to her about this, and you're going to have to you're not going to have to do anything, but the chances are, I don't even know if the chances are, there's a possibility that as the boys get older, she's going to realize, I'm chasing the wrong things here, and I'm getting frustrated, and maybe it's time to reconnect with family. You hope she comes to that conclusion as she gets buried beneath the demands that she's putting on herself. You hope.
And she doesn't want to talk about faith anymore.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, she's married. Yeah.
See, that's the other thing, Ann. That's the other thing. She looks at you like, I don't really relate to where you're at, Mom. Mm-hmm. And therefore, I don't necessarily have any strong desire to spend a whole lot of time with you, but I do need you. I do need you because you save us a whole lot of money Because if I had to have these boys babysat or watched by someone, it's going to cost a lot of money. So I guess I would say this, Ann, shed the feeling of being used. Because you are being used. It's simple. You are being used.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be upset by it. You can simply say, well, okay, I'm going to enjoy my grandsons. I'm going to enjoy my time with them. And maybe at some point, I would certainly not push on her at all for get-togethers. No. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. She's already given you enough signals that she's bobbing and a weaving and a ducking, that she's not going to fit you into her time slot on Sunday afternoon from 3 to 3:15.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
All right.
That's it. So be at peace regarding the fact that you still get to see the grandkids. She's not so upset at you because you're too religious, and she's afraid you're gonna spit religion on them or something.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, sweetheart. Thanks for the call. Talk to you. Yeah, there's a lot of this. I am of the opinion that because we have had such an unbelievably comfortable existence for so long, last couple, 3 generations, that the younger people, having grown up in a lot of comfort, in a lot of material possessions, in a lot of pleasure seeking, it takes its toll on relationships, and it does. And self-seeking becomes a stronger motive than other seeking. I want to make money, I want to work, and I want to do X, Y, and Z for myself. And, oh, yeah, well, Mom, she's kind of there. And, yeah, I guess I suppose I should see her maybe here and there. But, not really high on my priority list. And I see that from just an awful lot of parents who've raised their kids. And their kids are just shooting off in another direction, chasing whatever it is in their own life. I'll tell you, though, a lot of them look back and say, I really regret now that my mom and dad aren't here. I really regret that I let all that just slip away. Kelly from St. Gabriel Radio in Columbus, Ohio. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how are you, Dr. Ray?
I'm doing fine, my dear. 12-year-old?
12-year-old, yes. And in fact, he just had an episode just now. So, I mean, it's 1:30. I just left my parents' house. They were spending time with their grandparents, and he's already upset about the prospect that he's not going to sleep at night. And it has happened over the last week, especially, where he can't sleep at night, and he gets so worked up, and he's crying really hard, and he's like, I can't sleep, and we're trying to tell him, say a rosary, don't worry so much, you will fall asleep eventually. And I've tried to say, and even if you don't sleep, what's the worst that can happen? You'll be tired the next day, but you'll be okay. But he gets, really worked up about not being able to sleep, and I don't know what to tell him.
You're on the right track, Kelly, and I've had a lot of clients come into my office because of this. There's a lot of sleep things you can do. Maybe you move his bedtime back a little bit. I don't know what time he goes to bed. If he goes to bed at 8:30 or 9, and he can lay there for an hour and a half or 2 before he dozes, you move his bedtime back a little bit. Get him up earlier. Get him up a little earlier so that he is more tired by the time bedtime comes around. But the key here, there's a couple things you can do. The key is to tell him, good. Don't worry about it. Just read. Just read. Don't worry about falling asleep. Just read. And tomorrow you will be tired. And maybe tomorrow night you'll not fall asleep again. Okay. But God wired into you the need for sleep. And that means after about 2 or 3 days of this, you're going to crash. You're just going to crash. It's going to happen. Don't let him take a nap at 4 o'clock. Don't do that. His attitude will be, well, I got to get some sleep. I'm going to take a nap. I'm so tired. Nope. We're going to get you to fall asleep. We're going to break this fear cycle, which is, isn't it awful and terrible and horrible that I'm not falling asleep? No, it's not. You could have him listen to some things. One of the things that I've advised to some of my clients is that get a nice podcast of something that might be of semi-interest to him, and let him just listen to it, and it'll definitely tone him down. There's no question about that. That can work.
What do you think? What kind of device? Because I thought about that, but I don't like the idea of a 12-year-old boy having on like an iPad or anything. Like, but do you think? How would you? What do you think? Because I thought about that, but.
All right, stay there, because this music is a tyrant. You stay right there, Kelly, and I'll talk to you in a second. 877-573-7825, Dr. Ray.
Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo.
Everything we say in the Mass is directly from Scripture. The opening prayers, the closing words from the deacon. Everything except the homily, which is an actual reflection or is supposed to be on the readings of the day. Everything is directly from Scripture. So when people say, well, I never heard the Bible at Mass, and that's why I left the Catholic Church, that's simply factually wrong. They either have not been to a Mass or are not willing to admit just how scripturally sound the Mass is. So I think it's very important to study Scripture. So important, and especially as it relates to the celebration of the Eucharist, right, which is a coming together of a celebration of Thanksgiving. That's what the word means. And there's all kinds of great things you can learn about our relationship with the Lord in the Eucharist and in the Mass by studying Scripture.
Catholic Connections, Teresa Tomeo. Weekdays, 9 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Christ is the answer, with Father John Riccardo.
John 14. This is Jesus in the upper room with the disciples before he's going out to his sacrifice of himself for our salvation. And Philip says to the Lord, "Show us the Father, and we'll be satisfied." Jesus looks at Philip and says, "Philip, have I been with you all this time? Don't you understand? When you see me, you're looking at the Father." In fact, only two people throughout human history have given rise to the question, not who is he, but what is he? The two people are Buddha and Jesus. Buddha's answer was, don't come to me, don't look to me, look to my doctrine, look to what I teach. Jesus' answer was, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble of heart. Jesus is explicitly claiming to be God.
Thank you for joining me. I'm talking to Kelly from Columbus. A little 12-year-old guy's getting himself really shook up because he's fearing and he's agitated that he isn't falling asleep quickly enough, and in his mind, all of the repercussions of not falling asleep are terrible and awful. He's probably got himself thinking, I'm going to get a bad grade in school, I'm going to flunk out of school, I won't have good grades, and I'm not going to go to college, and then I'll be poor, and then I won't be able to live anywhere, and I'll be on the street, and I'll be homeless. Does that sound a little bit like your son, Kelly, even though I exaggerate it?
Yeah, it does. And even actually, he went to school one day last week, and they had to call me because they thought he had like a stomach issue because his stomach gets so worked up. He gets to school, and he's like so worked up about like that he's gonna, not. I don't even know if it's not do well. It's just he's gonna.
He's got a sensitive temperament. He's got a sensitive temperament.
He does, yeah.
And he's going to have to see that what he fears is not going to happen. That's the big thing. You can tell him that. You will eventually fall asleep, son. It may take 3 days, but you'll fall asleep and you will break the cycle here. Now, you asked the question about listening to a podcast or something. Is your son trustworthy enough to leave it on the podcast and not go searching around?
You know, I do think he is, and I know a lot of parents say that, and then they always say not. My kid wouldn't do that. He is, and actually one of the reasons it started this, he watched what wasn't even a scary show. His 8-year-old brother was watching something he thought was scary, and then that was like the first night of not sleeping. So I think, honestly, he would be scared to like what he might find. I mean, I think he is trustworthy.
Yeah, he's an overthinker.
Yeah.
Okay, if you can do that, you do some searching for some good podcasts. Father Spitzer has some really great stuff. You can go to magicenter.com. He's got some real good stuff on science, and they present these things to kids in middle school and high school. It's good stuff. There are other podcasts regarding fascinating stuff. Jimmy Akin has something called Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World, where he deals with a lot of fascinating subjects. And you can just have him listen to. Sometimes I do that. If I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm laying there for half an hour, I'm going to put a podcast in, and within 5 minutes I'm gone. Now, one piece of advice that people often give is don't lay in bed forever. Get up and do something. He could do that. The problem is, of course, what would he do and what kind of supervision? But he can get up. I mean, if bed becomes associated with agitation, now he's going to think, okay, all I got to do is go lay down and I'm going to get all shook up. As opposed to saying, don't lay in bed longer than 20 minutes. And if you're there, get up, go do something until you're tired. Go read until you're tired. Go do schoolwork till you're tired. Whatever, go work a puzzle till you're tired. Then go back. Lay down. If you go 20 minutes again, get up again. Because what'll happen is biology's on his side. I mean, the body has to sleep. It's going to happen. There's a lot of good sleep hygiene material out there, but the biggest thing for him is to get him past this fear that all life will unravel for me if I don't sleep.
Okay, that sounds good. And is there any point that I should start like a therapist, or if it doesn't, I'm going to keep trying that. But I mean, he does show anxiety and a lot of.
Well, I think what it sounds like is your little guy overthinks a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And he gets himself distressed physiologically. And it may be helpful for him to start to understand how his thinking is causing all this agitation in a whole bunch of areas, not just sleeping. You know, he went to school.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, my stomach's really starting to hurt. I got to come home. And at that point, you know, if you think there's nothing wrong medically, you just say, oh, go sit in a nurse's office until your stomach settles down.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of thing. All righty, my dear. Good luck to you now.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, honey. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Julio, California. Hi, Julio.
Hey, Dr. Ray.
Is this question for you or for a child?
No, it's for me. I feel a little bit addicted to podcasts, like your podcast, Jimmy Akin's podcast. He has multiple podcasts, and I guess I wanted to see your thoughts on just filling time with listening to things, if it's healthy or these are good things that I'm listening to, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like I have to listen to this podcast. I can't miss a day, and I think there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, that's the key. If you're doing it because, I enjoy listening to podcasts too because I like what I learn. But if you're doing it because you feel driven to do it, because there's a compulsion, then what you're going to have to do is break the anxiety cycle. Here's what happens. You get anxious if you don't listen to a podcast. If you skip a day, you skip two, you get anxious, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The anxiety's not going to hurt you. If you say to yourself, I know I'm going to get anxious, but that's okay because I want to break this link. I will not listen to the podcast. I will feel anxious, but the anxiety will pass. And as I do this more often, say every third or fourth day, I just decide to skip a podcast, you will find that you'll be able to skip them at will. But after a while, you're going to have to accept a certain amount of distress when you don't go listen to it. I'm so afraid I'm going to miss something. There's something important. Maybe it'll help me. I know I should do this. And you tell yourself, this is a compulsion. And the way to break the compulsion is to break the anxiety when I feel it. That's the way to do it. Maybe you put yourself on a diet. Maybe you can say, I'm allowed 4 podcasts a week, and that's it. That's it. That's all I'm allowed. That's all I'll do. and I will experience the anxiety as I detox myself from this. The other thing, too, is it's probably interfering with a lot of other stuff, right? I mean, you could be doing other things. But this listening to all these things, which are in many ways helpful, but the problem is too much is not helpful.
Yeah, I would listen to some podcasts, and my wife would say that she wanted to talk to me. And
yeah, see.
Podcast. Well, and I toned it down since then. That was a few years ago, but I still feel like I'm listening to. My wife doesn't tell me anything anymore. I've toned it down quite a bit, but I still feel like I don't know. I'm working on something, with my hands in the garage, and I'll turn something on. I just feel like so I'll turn something on because I feel like, well, I might as well listen to something. But
you know what I do? When I exercise, Julio, it's tempting for me to listen to a podcast. Instead, I put in music.
Uh-huh.
So if you're out in the garage and you're doing something and your attitude is, I want to listen and see what Jimmy has to say, put in music. Just put in music. So you're not a hostage to feeling like I have to listen to something because, I just need to learn. Well, what if I miss something? Well, I'm just so used to doing this that it's part of my life, and therefore, no. It's going to come down to you essentially taking the steps to break the anxiety link.
Okay.
That's what it's going to come down to. There's no magic formula where you say, okay, here's what I need to do to not listen to this stuff so often. No. You say to yourself, I will allow myself this amount, and I will expect that I'm going to be anxious when I don't listen. When I have the drive to listen, I'm going to be anxious. But that anxiety will go away as I limit myself to only a certain amount. It will. It'll just go away.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I'll try to.
All righty, my friend. Now, I just say this though: don't not listen to me. Then you could be missing something. You could have psychological gaps, and that could be a problem.
Yeah, I was thinking your podcast is so good; it's causing my problems in my life.
Thanks, Julio. God bless you. Take care, my friend.
Bye.
This is Dr. A. Thanks for joining me.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Are you paying high prices with a traditional health insurance company that pays for things that violate your conscience? There's an alternative available. Solidarity HealthShare is a community of faithful individuals and families that never share into immoral medical services, all while saving you money with prices starting as low as $85 per month for singles and $512 for families. Never fund another abortion with your healthcare dollars. Call 844-313-4999 to learn more.
Steve Ray here. Next year's a Jubilee year, and we're going to celebrate it in Rome. But not only Rome. This is our Saints and Shrines of Italy pilgrimage, and joining us is our good friend Teresa Tomeo.
Yes, Steve, fantastical. Walking through the holy doors, immersing ourselves in the deeply Catholic culture of Italy. I'll be joining you and Janet in Florence and Assisi.
Join us this May for the Jubilee year from Milan to Florence and much more, all the way to Rome.
Find the Ave Maria Radio travel tab at AveMariaRadio.net.
Italy aficionado Teresa Tomio's newest book is coming soon to the Ave Maria online store. In Italy's Shrines and Wonders, Teresa Tomio provides how best to navigate the most popular sites, best routes, and how to best soak in all the beauty Italy has to offer. She also shares the most inspiring journeys to make your Italy excursion utterly unforgettable. Shrines and Wonders from Catholic Connections, Teresa Tomio will be found soon at AveMariaRadio.net. This program brought to you in part by the town of Ave Maria, Florida.
Ave Maria, a big kind of small town. A golf cart friendly, ride your bike everywhere kind of town with something for everyone. Resort style amenities, 2 golf courses, shopping, and dining in our town center. With Ave Maria University and Ave Maria Catholic Church at the core of the community and a wide range of homes to meet your family's needs. Visitors are welcome. More information can be found at AveMaria.com. Ave Maria, a big kind of small town.
Time for one more call here on The Doctor's In. By the way, I didn't say anything today, but I'd like to. Next week, God willing, we're heading down to Ave Maria University. We're going to tape Living Right with Dr. Ray, 4 shows on January 28th, 29th, Tuesday and Wednesday nights, 5:30, 7:15. If you'd like to be part of the audience, go to Eventbrite, BRITE.com. You can sign up for 1, 2, 3, 4 shows. And we've already got a whole bunch of things planned with the audience, and the audience makes it work. No question about that. Angel from Pennsylvania. Hello, Angel.
Ray, how are you doing?
Yeah, nothing gaining on me.
I love Ave Maria. It's such a wonderful place. It's so cool. But I just wanted to add something to what the lady was saying. She seemed so troubled about not being able to spend time with her daughter. And I kind of went through the same thing. I was working long days, and my husband was too. We had 4 kids in 4 different schools. We had bills. We had, Freddie got sick. Sissy was acting up. You know what I mean? We had so many problems just day to day that we actually forgot to visit our parents for almost 2 years, except at Christmas. We were just overwhelmed. When my mother pointed it out to me, I felt very bad about it. But then I realized I wouldn't do that to my kids if they were really pressured. So what I do is, above and beyond the babysitting and all that, I might say something like, "Hey, would you like to go to a restaurant, next week? And you can pick the place I'll buy." And let them be relaxed, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know how much they're shoving around in their own life, and maybe just build them up. Don't criticize. Don't say anything negative. Just say, "Hey, you're amazing, and I love you. I'm so proud of you." And it works for me.
How did you come to the conclusion after a couple of years that you were misguided in your priorities?
My mother actually told my sister, and she called me and she said, "Mom said you haven't been here in 2 years." I was like, "Are you kidding?" I really hadn't any idea that it was that long of a time. We were so overwhelmed. Like I said, we had 4 kids in 4 years in 4 different schools. I was working every day, and my husband was too. He was traveling. And everything from housing problems to, chores and kids, and just work problems. But we didn't even have 5 minutes for each other, And so thinking about my parents and everything else was just like in the back seat. And not that I didn't love them. I love them dearly. But then it came to me that I needed to spend some time with them in a different way, not just pressuring them or...
You actually, see, your situation is a little different from our previous caller, because when your sister told you that, it was a revelation. I had gotten myself so caught up in my pursuits that I didn't realize what I had done. This caller, though, had approached her daughter and said, probably a number of times, "I'd like to see you, I miss seeing you," et cetera, et cetera. And the daughter just basically, as she said, slapped it away.
Well, we can't expect our kids to be our entertainment committee. We have to have a full life ourselves, and we have to respect when we pull into their driveway that maybe they've got something going on and they don't want to see us. But maybe we should honk the horn and say, "Hey, I'm here, and I can be here for a few minutes. Do you want me to stop in?" Ask. Don't just think that everything is peaches and cream when they're overloaded themselves. And if you walk in at the bad time, you're going to find yourself in the middle of a war zone, and then you'll be out the door. So
one of the things my wife and I have learned, we do not, and all our 10 kids are grown now, we do not at all say to them, "When are we going to see you? Haven't seen you. Come around. Gee, sure miss seeing you." We don't put any pressure on them at all. If they wish to be with us and around us, spend time with us, we let them make that decision. That's part of who we are. We just simply do not push on them. If they have the desire, great. And fortunately, most of them do. But we haven't said to them, "Well, gosh, we haven't seen you. What are you doing? I mean, we kind of want to see you." On one hand, that's okay to let that be known, but not too much. Angel, thank you for the call. This is Dr. Ray. I appreciate the company. Andrew Kruchek, producer man, Eric Dumont, call Screamer Man, and most important, you keeping me company here on the program. Walk with God. You know, He wants to spend all kinds of time with you. Just ask Him.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.